there is just not a lot of conversation about asset management, and it has become my personal charge. I want people to start talking about it, and I really want to level up. Let's really bring asset management to the forefront because we need great asset managers. Properties we're buying today, you can't just buy them and kind of let them run the course and sell them and make money. It's not going to happen. You have to actually manage them, and you need a good asset manager to make it happen.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Adventures of a Real Estate Investor. I'm Susie.
And I'm Michael. We're excited you joined us for this adventure.
So today, we're super excited because we have our first guest ever for asset management. Super excited. Cyndee and I have, I probably met you like 3 or 4 years ago. Wow, I did something with my hands, so that was fun for everyone watching. Mac has a new feature where if you do stuff with your hands on Zoom, you get fun features. But it's been cool. Michael and I often talk about there's not a lot of asset management chat going around. It's hard to find masterminds. It's hard to find or difficult to find people who are even interested in talking about it. So it was very exciting when you started posting about it often, and you were just the first person I thought of. So I'm super excited to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. I love it. And you're right. There is just not a lot of conversation about asset management, and it has become my personal charge. I just want to talk about asset management. I want people to start talking about it, and I really want to level up. Let's really bring asset management to the forefront because we need great asset managers. Properties we're buying today, you can't just buy them and kind of let them run the course and sell them and make money. It's not going to happen. You have to actually manage them, and you need a good asset manager to make it happen. So I'm super excited to talk with you guys today. Thank you so much for having me. It's my passion. I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I want to piggyback on something you said as well as the times, 2024 now, and 2023, I call it the year of the asset manager because 2020, 2021, 2022, people barely had a business plan put together for the property. They were buying assets and letting them appreciate, especially in those big markets like Phoenix, Atlanta, and things like that. And things they were just getting away with not asset managing it. I'm sure there was some asset management in there for sure. I'm not trying to badmouth everybody, but I'm just saying. And then 2023 rolled around, and then you have these people who actually need to focus on asset management, and people are like, wait, what am I doing? Yeah. Not sure what I'm doing here. I was so successful in just buying and then selling a couple, 18 months down the road because of appreciation. But yeah, I'm excited. I think asset management is a topic that's not talked about a lot. And I think it is growing, the field of, people actually wanting and caring about asset management and wanting to learn about it. So we're excited to have you on.
Do you want to give our listeners a little bit about your background and how you, I guess, evolved into loving asset management? Because I feel like that's a much better way than asking about your real estate story.
Sure. Well, I was an accountant for 25 years, and I specialized in small businesses. So basically, I was kind of the nerd that I loved it when I was talking with someone and they had their own small business and they're like, I don't know how to do any of this. And they brought me a shoebox full of receipts and bank statements. And I jumped it on my desk, and it was a big jigsaw puzzle. And so I really learned forensic accounting. I would build back and build up their business from when they started. And so that's really my specialty. So I did that for 25 years, and I would work with these owners that had these really small businesses and help them how to strategize and how to increase their income and how to decrease their expenses. So I did that, and I sold my business and kind of walked away from it, put away my calculator, and did a little adventure of my own for about 5 years. And then we got introduced to multifamily, and I was like, oh man, this is my specialty. Yeah, I can do this. I can totally do this. Because an apartment complex, especially when you're in the acquisition, oh my gosh, because we have these owners that are tired and they've had it for 40 years and it's a big shoebox. They haven't good records. And I'm like, oh, give me the financials. So I dig into it. And so it was second nature to me. And I could find those little things, that they hadn't really kept good track of. And so it was very second nature. And so I started doing the asset management of our, the properties that we were buying. And so we started buying in 2019, and asset management just was second nature to me, and I loved it. And so I just started, that was my journey. That's how I, did it. That was my role on our team. And then I realized that it really wasn't being taught. And it was kind of like when you were in a team, usually there's 4 people in a team. You have an underwriter, an acquisition, someone that does investor relations, and kind of the short straw was the asset manager. They were like, I guess I'll asset manage. Yeah. I'm like, no, we need that to be the forefront. Like, I can make this property work. I can buy into the business plan. And so that's kind of my charge that I'm leading. Like, we need great asset managers that can underwrite, that can look at a plan and say, yes, this will work, and I can implement it, and I can stay with the property 5 to 7 years, because we know that investor relations, acquisitions, and underwriting, they're looking for the next deal. And so what we want to do is we want to create and help, nurture those great asset managers. So that's kind of what my song that I want to sing to everyone is, you can be a great asset manager. We can help you. And so I think there's lots of them out there. We just need to help them discover who they are and their great ability.
No, I totally agree with that. And like immediately I thought of, with a lot of people, right? It's like the next dopamine hit almost. And like with acquisitions and underwriting, like you can do that not acquisitions as fast, but like looking for a deal, like when one pops into your inbox, it is exciting, right? Like you get that feeling, and you get it with investor relations when you have somebody, who wants to invest with you. And then, but with asset management, it kind of seems like a long play, but really every day, right? When we see like a project that's been completed, or when you give your on-site manager like a virtual high five, all of those things though are really like the most exciting. It's like, wow, I impacted that one and that one and that one and that one, but then the ripple from it, right? And there's so much more even than like a great business plan, but like the great business plan and then making sure it works is really the most fun part. Like everyone says it's not sexy, but really it is.
It is. Well, our goal is to take complexes and turn them into communities. That's what we want to do. Because if you think about it, today, what we're buying are properties that are usually distressed. They have a bridge loan that's coming due. They have owners that are frantic. They haven't maybe done some of the CapEx that they plan to do. They ran out of money, and they're complexes. And so what we want to do is we want to turn them into communities where people love where they live, where they feel safe, where they know their neighbor. So when we have a complex, we turn it into a community. We have monthly events where they love where they live. We create an environment. We do those things that need to be done. We do the CapEx. I'm the same way. Like, I have a tracker. I love it when we finish the painting on the exterior and it looks beautiful. When we install a brand new playground, when the children sit up on the hill and they watch every day the playground getting installed, put together day after day. It took them a week to do this playground. And every day the on-site, she'd tell me they're out there. It was in the winter time. And we told them we wanted it finished before school let out for winter break. So they would make sure that they would have a place to go on winter break to get out of their parents' hair. So they would have this playground done. And they met the deadline. They had it done before winter break. But every day after school, the kids sat up on the hill and watched the playground get put together. And when it was time, when school was out, the playground was done. And it was just so fulfilling to be able to check that box. It was done. And the residents loved it.
That's cool. So I want to talk about that specifically, since that triggered like a reaction and a question that I had. So typically, you think about playgrounds, they don't drive income on the property when you look at it from just a raw income generation thing, right? You're not adding value to a unit itself to then increase the rent. But there are intangibles that a lot of people don't understand, like or see the example you just gave, right? The children had a place to go, right? And you want to turn it into a community. We love that. And like, we were very big on those intangibles, or like getting to those intangibles, not necessarily always focusing on spending money where you can make money, but also spending money where you can actually build a community. And I love that. So
yeah, because like with that, right? If say there was like a family who did want to go to a community that had a playground, like instead of yours, like what that turnover cost would actually be, right? Like that there are things like that to like think beyond and like really dig deep into to be like, okay, no, like we can make these things work in a really great way.
Yeah. Well, and you can see it from the road. I mean, it does. It increased our traffic because there's no complex. It's a pretty small town. There's no complex that has this type of playground. It's a new playground. And the on-site told us that people have stopped and come in because you can see it from the road and it's beautiful. And it's a big one. I mean, we invested quite a bit of money in this and the kids love it. The parents love it. Honestly, the playground that was there was the one that I grew up as on a kid, like the merry-go-round and the swings, and was very safe, but
Right, especially
And
when
so
you start spinning really fast and people fly
yes,
off.
yeah, and they swing off. Yeah. And so we took all of that out and we put in the rubberized, flooring and, we did everything so that it would be very safe for the kids. And yeah, I mean, the return on it, yes, we make no money on that playground. However, it creates a community. And we have had people stop that have come into the complex because oh my gosh, no one has this kind of playground in this area. So maybe we're making money on it.
Well,
We
that
did it
way,
for the
right?
residents.
Yeah, it's a marketing tool that way. Not only is it a marketing tool, but also, and you will never be able to really capture this, but like as Susie mentioned, like the turnover, right? If there's not a community vibe there and people want to live or just move on to the next place, right? Without building a community, then you have that turnover cost and things like that. So yeah, unfortunately, you would never really be able to measure that, but it's working, right? I wanted to go back as well, and because you mentioned, asset management, acquisitions, things like that. Does your company specifically, do you guys do acquisitions and asset management and everything else, or do you also provide asset management to other companies?
So I'm part of Outlaws Capital. So that's our group. That's my husband and myself and another couple. And so we purchase, we do acquisitions and we purchase and buy. So I'm part of the GP on. Then I also have High Caliber Asset Management. And so with that company, I do third party. So I will go in and asset manage for other people. So I can either do that for long term, like for the life of that they own it, or I can also do it short term if they need to help kind of get it started or maybe turn it around. If they've got some problems with it. So I'll do that for a short term or long term. So I love asset management. I'm like Susie. I love, the day-to-day working and helping. I do get a lot of satisfaction when I can see that our numbers go up, that we meet our distributions, that my on-sites are happy. I feel like it's a three-legged stool. So the first thing is community. We want to have a good community, and we actually want to be involved in the community in which we have our apartment complex. So we try to hire people that live there within the city. We have like our landscaping. We want people that have a local business there. So we put money back into the economy. Then we do community events within the complex every month. We have 2 events a month where people get together. They know the on-site, they know each other. So we have those events. And then the other is retention. We want people to stay. So the playground, yes, we get people that drive by and see it. Maybe they want to live there, but then people that live there, they may want to stay because it has a playground. So, we focus on retention. So all those things wrapped together, I think, is part of the asset management. And we focus on those 3 things. So I get a lot of satisfaction out of doing the asset management. And then, of course, all of that bundled together helps us meet our returns for our investors. Because that's really, the bottom line is the business plan. It is a business. Job of the asset manager is to execute the business plan.
What do you think are some, I don't want to say like personality traits, but like some really great attributes of a asset manager? If you're going to hire one, what are you looking for?
Well, I think being able to navigate between GPs and the property management. I definitely have a very clear line. I am the liaison between the GPs and the property management. I don't feel like, I shouldn't say I don't feel like, I don't want GPs talking to the property management. Everything gets funneled through me because otherwise we get lots of conflicting information. So I definitely keep that line of communication very clear so that the property management doesn't get conflicting instructions. Yeah. So that's one of the things is it's very clear communication. So I meet with the property management. And so I, work with them on what we're doing, what the plan is. Then I meet with the asset management team. I don't know if you guys have implemented this on your properties, but we have a team that's part of the asset management team. That's a volunteer. It's people some people are part of the GP, some people are LPs, but they help the asset management. They help with the newsletters, they help with market surveys, they help, with those kind of things that go on behind the scenes. And we talk about what's going on at the property and come up with some solutions, some ideas. And then I go to the GPs. And then when I meet with the GPs, I present them. This is what's going on at the property. These are some suggestions. What is your resolution? What do you want to happen? And then I follow up with an email to the property management. Everything has a paper trail.
Yeah.
That's the accountant in me because I have to have a paper trail. So then the email goes back to the property management. I've met with the GPs. This is how we're going to move forward. So I think part of that is the personality is very detail oriented, having a paper trail and just being very concise on this is the plan. This is how we're moving forward. And I think being able to be decisive about it helps. Sometimes you're wrong and I'm okay because it's wrong. We move forward and then we're like, that wasn't the right thing. And I'm okay with that. I can say, I will tell you one time we were doing refer a friend. And so the property management said, this is how much we should offer a refer a friend. I was like, that is way too much money. And I told the GPs, I think that's too much money. I don't think that's going to work. And they said, okay, yeah, we're not going to offer that much. So I went back to the property management. I said, no, this is how much we can do for refer a friend. It didn't work. It wasn't enough. So we did it. We printed the door hangers and all that. It wasn't enough. And so I went back and I said to the GPs, I'm so sorry. We wasted that money printing those flyers. It was not enough. This is how much we need to offer for refer a friend. I did not listen to the property management. I should have. They've done it. This is what they do. And I'm sorry. And so we upped the amount. And guess what? We started getting referrals.
Wow.
I should have listened to them.
Yeah, I think asset management in general is just a very, very dynamic process.
Mhm.
It's always changing, right?
Yeah.
What works at one property is definitely not going to work at another one, right? You have to develop so much tacit knowledge about that specific asset, right? And I think another good attribute of an asset manager is being able to be flexible, right? And in knowing when you need to change course, right? Yeah, without just like trying to do the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. So,
Yeah, you do. You have to just kind of be able to pivot. If this isn't working, we need to pivot. We had a property where we had vacancies and I really dug into the demographics of that property, like what was around it, who were our residents that we currently had. And I discovered we had a lot of Hispanics, but we were running Facebook ads and, Google ads, but they were all in English. And our on-site was Hispanic. That was his first language. And I said, why are we not running ads in Spanish? He's like, I don't know. So guess what? We started running ads in Spanish. Oh my gosh, we started getting so much traffic. That's who was living at the property. That was his first language. Why weren't we? I'm not sure, but we started running ads in Spanish. Now we're getting the traffic that we needed. So I think it's being able to look from a 10,000 foot and then to really dive in. So being flexible, I think helps.
Everything that you've been saying, it made me think of like a couple things. Like I like that because like with masterminds and everything now, right? With everyone just talking about acquisitions, like with that, you mentioned like what a team can consist of. But I think a lot of time too, like with your partners, I love that you like have, right, like one asset manager and then you can go back and talk to the GPs. Because I've seen a lot of teams where it's like everything is equal. But that, like what your example that you gave too, like giving clear instructions back to the property manager is huge. Because when you have one person just communicating, like that does make a really big difference. And it does clear a lot of communication, one. But if you have like 5 asset managers on your team, I will let you know, or even 4, I guess we can say 4, like 1 or 2 people are always going to run with it. If you were the kid in class who in group projects were the ones completing the group projects, that happens also as an adult. And so really there is a lot of value of just having 1 or 2, but letting the other general partners know, like, no, we can all do this together, but like having one there and one person communicating, it makes a world of a difference. It really, really does.
But you have to be willing to take the blame too. I'm saying you have to be willing to go, okay, I went back and said, I was wrong. We have to give more money. It's not going to work. Or this did work. You have to be willing to accept the kudos and the accountability. And you have to have tough skin. Because, you got to take it both ways.
Totally. And with that though, too, because I love how there was that story, but then the story of like where you were like, well, why aren't we doing ads in Spanish? Like there's that constant juggle of like where you'll have a super great idea, but then the property manager also have a super great idea, and how like giving grace both ways will really benefit the relationship, right? Because when you went back and said no, right, but then went also back to her and said, oh, okay, like actually, yes, we're going to up it. Like that happens a lot, but it happens both ways, right? And it's like really once you get past like that level, because it's kind of like nerve-wracking, like, oh gosh, okay, like they knew the whole time and we'll see how this goes. Ultimately, it is your property, but you still have all the emotions tied up. So it is nice though when everything can create a place of harmony. And that's also huge with working with your on-site too. When you create harmony and you're not just this scary owner, I mean, the conversations also change drastically as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, the other thing is I never give direction to the on-site. I only give direction to the regional. So when we have the meeting and we talk with the on-site, I only give praise. Even if there's something going on with the on-site, I only praise them. I only tell them what a great job they're doing. And then if there's anything that I think needs improvement, I will talk with the regional and I'll say, this is kind of what I'm seeing. And actually, I had an on-site that I was ready to fire. And so I talked with the regional and I felt like she needed more training, that she didn't understand the system well enough, like the whole process of how to take someone coming in the door to signing the lease. She just didn't have the confidence. And so I talked to the regional and I said, if you can go to the property and sit beside her and help her close, I just feel like she doesn't really know how to close the deal. And I just think she needs more training. If you will do that, I don't want to make the decision without her getting extra training. He said he would. Do you know she went from vacancies, to this day, and she has 132 units. She has 3 vacancies. Wow. And when we get on those calls, her confidence is amazing. And we've talked about it in our asset management team because they knew where we were and they've like, it's amazing. And I just am like, I'm so grateful that I listened to that little voice in my head, just like ask for her to get a little more training before we fire her.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And she's amazing.
That's cool. We have a similar story, but it didn't end the same way. Right. So we gave somebody the benefit of the doubt, like, hey, we spoke to the regional, this person needs more training. They're just not confident in leasing, right? And then that confident is just, if you're confident, then you can close things, right? You just need to be a closer, a salesperson, right? To get these leases signed. Well, after multiple times discussing with the regional, hey, we need to build her confidence. After another 6-9 months down the road, just did not work out. So yeah. But then at that point, we had enough data to show, okay, this is all the data. And we were able to show the regional, able to show the CEO of the management company as well. So it's important as well as asset manager to continue to collect data and all the data you can, because that is what you need in order to make any position changes that you need to do, in my opinion. So
I was going to say, I think that's huge too, when you help the property manager understand that like everything is data driven, because then when they present you with data, like by wanting to get something done, like for our very first property, actually, every time she asked me a question, how much is it going to cost? What's the return? Like, how often do you think we'll have to do this? And finally, instead of just asking me questions, it'd be like, hey, look at all this data I found for an issue that we have.
Yes.
Like, wow, this is magical. I'm so glad that this is where we've evolved. Because when they see it that way too, everything changes as well.
We found, I don't know if you find the same way, but like we've educated not only our regionals, but also our on-site managers. Like, so all of ours are mostly syndications. What a syndication is, what it entails, who the owners are. It's not just some rich people, it's a group of people that have come together, right? So like explaining that and like why every dollar counts, and like you can't spend money unless you have money, that kind of mentality has really gone a long way in helping them understand the business aspect of it, right? And why their job.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That they have to understand that it's an investment. Yeah, it's not just rich people that are buying it, that we actually have a financial responsibility to our investors. And that's why we're asking all these questions. And you find out too, like I dive into the financials every month and I compare it to the budget, and I'm always asking questions if we're not aligned with the budget. And so they've learned over time, they know I'm going to ask the questions. So they've already prepared. They know what I'm going to ask about. And if we're not in budget, why are we not in budget? So, but that's a matter of training, and they know that that's going to happen. So it's good. But if you don't pay attention to those things, then they're not going to care. If you don't care, they don't care.
I was
When
gonna
you
say,
care,
you
they
see
know
what
what's
you do.
coming.
Totally. No, I mean,
But
and
that's where we have to level, that's where we have to level up all the asset managers. We have to teach them. These are the things that you need to watch for. These are the questions you need to ask.
100%.
it makes, I don't know. I love asset management. Like, I feel like I
I
could
agree.
keep talking about it all day.
I mean, it's really where the money's made in multifamily, to be
Yeah.
honest. It's like, yes, you have to buy right, but then literally after that, you buy right, which also has a lot of asset management implications, right? Because you're
Mhm.
building the business plan as you're acquiring it, right? And you're like, does this make sense? Can this be executed? Right? And then you go and you actually execute, and that is where the money is made. So,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. I want to talk about one more thing. Yeah, sorry, Cyndee. I know at the very beginning, before we were offline, you were talking about this new course that you started. Can you tell our adventurous family about this?
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited about it. And like we were talking earlier, just about leveling up asset managers. So I have a partner. His name is Andrew Suarez. And so together we teach a course for asset management. Our course is called Yin Yang Asset Management. And basically our logo is the tree of life. This has the roots and the tree coming up. And him and I are like yin yang. We just go together perfectly. I teach asset management and he teaches leadership. And if you think about it, you cannot be an asset manager without being a leader, because we've talked about how they need to have one voice. And it's a 12-week course. So it's 2 hours. We teach it on Wednesday nights, and the first hour is asset management. The second hour is leadership. And we teach everything you need to know the first year for asset management for you to be successful. So we go over, and what we've done is we've created everything that you need as far as templates, like agendas for your property management, a unit tracker, a CapEx tracker, a scorecard. So you've got your underwriting, and then you've got your property management, and then you put your monthly financials against it. So you can see like where you are every month with that. And then it's built out to create KPIs. So every month you can see where your KPIs are. So you can send that to your investors. So it's pretty extensive, but it helps you to see where you are every month. And it just helps you as an asset manager. So it's 12 weeks. We have a syllabus that we send out. And so we teach this 4 times a year. And our goal, it's a very small class. We only have 20 students because we want to be able to really help students understand. And it's designed for beginners. I mean, we really, if you already have properties, then you've already been doing asset management. But if you're just acquiring properties, or you've had it, for maybe 6 months and you're like, oh, what am I doing? This is perfect for you, because we're going to help you, give you structure, because it's all about structure and being able to, run the property, have that structure with your property management, because we want you to be able to create a community and be able to meet those KPIs, be able to have happy investors. And Andrew always says happy leasing. He is a property management. So he has a property management company in California. And then I have asset management. So yin yang.
That's awesome. And where can people find out more about that?
So the website is www.yinyangassetmanagement.com. So it's YINYANG asset management.
Yeah. And we'll make sure to have that in the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. No.
Please, because right now we've just started our course. So the next one I think won't be until June, but people can reserve their seat because we do fill up. And yeah, I think it's such a good way to really understand asset management and to see what are the roles and responsibilities, because some people don't even really know, like, what am I supposed to do? We talk about who's your biggest investor. That's one of our questions when we're talking about it, because people think, who did invest the most money? And you can see them kind of rolling in their head, and we're like, it's the bank. The bank is your biggest lender. You need to satisfy the bank. That means you've got reports to them. You have things that you have to complete that first year. They're going to give you a list of everything you need to do. You need to create a tracker to make sure you hit all those benchmarks. And they're like, oh gosh, we didn't even know that. So you'll learn a lot in that class.
Nobody reads the loan docs,
documents.
Cyndee. Nobody reads the loan docs. You just sign it.
Yep.
Nobody wants to read the 100-page. Yeah. Cool. Thanks so much for sharing that, Cyndee. So thank you so much. This has been such an awesome conversation. I love talking about asset management. So does Susie, and so do you as well. So I'm glad we had you on the show. would definitely have to have you back at some point. But before we end the show, we do have a couple questions for you. The first question we have for you is, if you had unlimited resources available to you, how would you leave an impact?
Well, I would just keep doing what I'm doing. I really believe in creating communities. It makes me super happy when we're able to see the impact that we're doing today. And like I said, just seeing the little kids sitting up on the hill watching that playground, it just made my heart so happy. And I don't know, I love what we have. Our on-site sends us pictures every month of the activities. Every month, more and more of the residents come out. We do one of our properties. It's a portfolio of 4 communities. We do a big Easter egg hunt. We do over 400 eggs that are like filled with candy. And we have a new on-site. And she was asking me at the last call, she's like, people are asking me something about a barbecue and like all these Easter eggs. What were they asking about? I thought, oh my gosh, there are people that were there last year and they are looking forward to this. And that made me happy. So I would just keep doing what I'm doing.
Oh, I love it. That's a great answer.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then our second question is, what is an asset management tip that you want to share with everyone?
Focus on the residents. If you focus on the residents having a great experience where they live, the money will follow, meaning they're going to pay their rent on time. They're going to refer their friends. That means that you're going to have the occupancy. That means you're going to have the money to pay your investors. You're going to meet your KPIs. Because when people are happy where they live, they're going to want to bring their friends there. You're going to be full. You're going to be able to bump your rent. And you're going to have happy investors. But it all starts with happy residents.
100%. Couldn't agree more. Yeah. It's always residents first and then profits follow.
Yeah, the money will follow.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Cyndee, before we end the show, would you mind sharing with our Adventurous family how they can find out more about you?
Absolutely, I'd love to. So you can find me on Facebook every Monday at 4:00 Pacific time. I do a day in the life of an asset manager. So we drop tips on asset managing. It's pretty raw and live. Sometimes I don't have on makeup. It's just what I've done that day. So you can find out what's happening in the day of a life of an asset manager. So if you want tips on things that are going on, that's a good place to follow. Also, we have Yin Yang Asset Management Facebook and Instagram. You can follow me, Cyndee Harding, on Facebook and Instagram. And then also you can go to our website, Yin Yang Asset Management. And yeah, I'm pretty much on social media. So I would love for people to reach out. Also, I'll give my calendar to you so you can drop that in the show notes.
Yeah.
Where I block out 2 hours every week that people can just jump on my calendar, and I'm happy to talk with them about asset management, or if I can help them in any way in their multifamily journey. I'm always willing to chat with people about that.
Yay. Thank you. Yeah, no, we'll absolutely add that to the show notes, and just thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes. Oh, thank you for having me. It was a delight. It was so nice to catch up with you as well. Thank you.
Absolutely. So until next time, explore more, adventure awaits.